The Sennheiser IE200 is the company's latest and greatest set of affordable IEMs that you can buy right now. And if you are getting started, if you're a beginner in the audiophile world, well, these could be your new best friend. But why should you buy these? Well, I'm going to give you my thoughts, what's my opinion about the IE200 in this video. But before doing that, let me tell you a story. Okay, imagine you're just getting started in the audiophile world, you're just a beginner. So straight away, would you buy the best set of the most expensive set of headphones, or would you rather go for an entry level model? Well, I think most people will not buy the most expensive headphones like at the starting. Of course, if you have a lot of money to burn, then that's a different case. But let me give you an example of my case. So back in the 2000s, when I was in school, I started playing badminton. And before you start wondering why am I talking about playing badminton on a tech YouTube channel, well, hear me out. So this is about 15 years ago from now. I was in 4th or 5th standard, if I remember correctly, and I was passionate about badminton and I started to play badminton from that time. So when I saw my peers, they had the fanciest of rackets, the best rackets. So I also told my father that I want to get a racket. I have started playing badminton. So he took me to a nearby neighborhood shop, got me a local non-branded racket. And I started playing, and of course I wanted a Yonex racket for myself because that was the best of the best at that time. My friends had it. But okay, I started my journey with the non-branded racket, and then I played for a couple of years, and that's when I got my first upgrade. In class 7th, I got my first, I got my new racket. It was again not a Yonex, it was a Costco. So of course I was a little disheartened, but okay, Costco was better than the previous one. So again I continued on with my journey. But then 4 years later, in class 9th, my father got me a Yonex. So this was a big gap, like from the time I started playing to the time in class 9th. I got my first Yonex racket. I was very excited. I was very pumped about it. And at the time when I got my Yonex, my skill set with badminton was also decent enough. So the moral of the story is that first I polished my skill with badminton before getting the Yonex racket. Similarly, coming back to the main story, if you are a beginner and you want to get started in the audiophile world but you don't want to invest in an expensive option, well, this video could help you to make an informed decision. Keep watching. Hello everyone, Aman here for Fiber, and before we get on with the rest of the episode, consider hitting that red subscribe button for detailed tech videos, and also turn on the bell so that you don't miss any of our latest updates. With that said, let's get started. Okay, so this first question is for the ones who have been following the Sennheiser I line of IEMs. Look at the Sennheiser IE200 and what does this remind you of? If you guessed the IE900, well, correct. Even if you guessed the IE600 for that matter, that's also correct. So design wise, one of the positive aspects of the IE200 for me has to be its striking resemblance with the higher end models, that is the IE900 and the IE600. So what if you can't get the expensive IE900? You can still get something that looks like it. Speaking of which, the Sennheiser IE200 launched in India at a pretty affordable price point of 15,000 rupees, which I think so.
Hello, 15,000 कहाँ से affordable हो गया भाई?
15,000 is like nicely, it's a nice price, it's an affordable price for a good set of IEMs. Okay, so we are not going there. Anyway, as for the rest of the design and aesthetics, the shell is pretty compact and comes with MMCX connectors to connect the braided cable, and the braided cable in my opinion could have been better. It's thin and flimsy and gets tangled easily, so again, as I said, could have been better. By the way, you're not getting any microphone on the Sennheiser IE200, so you can't make any calls using these, and I know I am not a noob. I know IEMs are not intended to have a microphone, but anyone who had this doubt, who was wondering about it, well, I just told you, I just cleared your doubt. Thank you. Apart from this, you get a 3.5mm plug type on the IE200, and the earphones feature a 7mm dynamic driver at the core that is precision tuned for a rich sounding audio output. And I already mentioned the thin cable and how they could have done it better, although I did not come across any cable noise, so that is great. But yes, overall when it comes to design, comfort and wearability, the Sennheiser IE200 feel light and comfortable in the ears, and never did I feel any sort of ear fatigue for the most part, even when I had them plugged in for long sessions. And why do I say this? Well, let's talk about the KSP of the product, KSP of the Sennheiser IE200, that is the audio quality. But you also must be wondering that instead of buying this product for about 15,000 rupees, why shouldn't you purchase a regular TWS earbuds, which are all the rage these days? So I compared the Galaxy Buds Pro 2 with the Sennheiser IE200, and here are 3 reasons why I would prefer the IE200 over Samsung's best. First, being an IEM, the IE200 offers better clarity, detail, depth and definition over the Galaxy Buds Pro 2. Second being that the IE200 has better passive noise isolation over the Galaxy Buds Pro 2, and this way they also sound louder. Now many would argue that the Galaxy Buds Pro 2 have ANC, but let me tell you that ANC is not ideal for everyone. It can hurt your ears and it can also cause dizziness. The third reason would be that the IE200 has better tuned dynamic drivers over the Galaxy Buds Pro 2. So this way, these offer cleaner and accurate sound reproduction over the Galaxy Buds Pro 2. So now that I've established that a pair of IEMs are the best tool to enjoy your music, let me tell you about the audio quality of the IE200. So according to the company's claims, the IE200 should offer a pretty neutral soundstage, and I would say this is true to an extent but not completely. You see, when it comes to the frequency response, the lows sounded a bit plain to my ears on the IE200. So of course, I won't be recommending these to someone who likes their equipment bass heavy, but if you're someone who likes it warm when it comes to the low end frequencies, all while keeping it clean enough to enjoy the low percussions and strings, I am sure you're going to have a pleasant time with these. As for the mid-range, this is where the IE200 absolutely shines. What you get here is a supremely well-balanced sound output across the range, especially the instrument separation and the vocals sound rich and natural. And then comes the high-end frequencies, where I feel that things start to get tricky. So while I would say that the overall sound signature does seem to fall on the neutral spectrum, in some instances, the treble in the high notes can be a bit bright. I mean, at least for me, in many songs, I felt that the audio sounds screechy at high volumes, and I mostly noticed this whenever I was listening to some songs dominated by an S sound, especially at higher volumes, and that is when the earphones felt a bit uncomfortable and fatiguing. But again, I would say that this did not happen like all the time. I would say this happened like 3 out of 10 times, and also letting you know that I use the Sennheiser IE200 with my Galaxy S23 Ultra and my OnePlus 10 Pro using the Type-C to 3.5mm adapter, but I also had the chance to use these with the Sony Walkman NWZX707, and I had an amazing experience with this. And if you haven't checked out my review of the Sony Walkman yet, you can check it out on the Fiber channel. But of course, let's get back to the final verdict. So time for the $1 million question. Should you get the Sennheiser IE200? Well, coming back to what I said at the start, I was passionate about badminton. I started playing the sport, but right away I did not get the Yonex racket. Instead, I first focused on polishing my skills, and then later on, like 4 years later, I got my Yonex racket. Similarly, if you are also a beginner, you're just getting started with your audiophile journey, you are just exploring right now, in that case, if you get the Sennheiser IE200, these could be a superb cop for you. But overall also, the Sennheiser IE200 is a great sounding wired earphones for its price. In fact, these days I've even seen them retailing for about 13,000 rupees on the Headphone Zone website, and for that kind of money, I think these offer great value. Fiber rates the Sennheiser IE200 a 7.5 on 10, but yes guys, those were my thoughts on Sennheiser's latest and greatest affordable set of IEMs. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Fiber. I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.